Hello, Belleville East Lancers, and welcome to 5 Question Friday. This week's guest, before I get to this week's guest, obviously, I've got my mask on just as a reminder that let's all wear masks so that we can help put this thing behind us as much as possible. Please stay out of large crowds. Please wash your hands, and please wear a mask. But since I'm all by myself in my classroom, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. So I'm now ready for the 5 Question Friday. So this week's special guest for the 5 Question Friday is a local restaurant owner in the city of Belleville, and his name is Bennie Parr. So say hello to Bennie Parr.
Hi, guys.
All right, so Bennie, you are a unique guest for us because you are the first one, and you may be the only one who is not a Belleville East Lancer. But since we're starting something this week called Spirit the City, the food fight that we're trying to get our students and our families in the community to go to our locally owned places for carry-out food, since we can't go inside these days. So we're trying to get them to go there for carry-out food. If you do that, you guys go and order food at Benny's Pizza or any other locally owned place, and then locally owned and operated place, and then you just write Lancers on the screen or on the receipt. You send it to the following email. That email is stcfoodfight@bths201.org. stcfoodfight@bths201.org. So STC is for Spirit of the City. And so we're doing that to try to help out our friends and neighbors, people like Benny, who have grown up here and own businesses. We're trying to help them out. So I would imagine, as a business owner, restaurant owner, you probably think that's a good idea. Is that right, Benny?
I think it's a fantastic idea. Great idea.
So, like I said, Benny is not a Belleville fan, so he went to Belleville West. But Benny, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you're at today?
For sure. Well, I was born and raised in Belleville. I went to the District 118 schools, and then I went to Belleville West. And I was from a very poor family, and so I always worked very hard. When it came to high school, I was kind of a loner in high school. Kind of did my own thing. Got to a certain point in my life where I decided to work rather than go to school. So I made that tough decision to drop out of school. Looking back, wasn't my best move, but a little bit later on, I decided to go back and get my GED just to prove to myself that I could do it. And I spent 26 years in the roller skating business. Most of you might know Fun Spot, which is just down the street from Belleville East. And I was owner operator there. Did that for 21 years, and then opened another skating center in Troy for the Parks and Rec there, and did that for 5 years. And then about 2.5 years ago, my career there came to an end. They decided that they were going to reduce payroll, and that meant that I had to find something else to do. So I had dreamed about opening this business, and I was just too scared. So I finally stepped up and just jumped all in, and just kind of put my heart and soul into it. And it's been a fantastic 2.5 years.
That's great. And it's something we see just about every week when we do these interviews, is that there's an obstacle, right? So people come up to obstacles, and for you, like you just mentioned numerous obstacles, but the thing that forced your hand was, like, they said your job is gone, right? So
for sure. Another big obstacle for me was I didn't know anything about the restaurant business, so I jumped into something that I didn't know a lot about, but I have a very strong presence in the community. I always have with the skating center. Through skating, I DJ'd, so I did big events in Belleville and weddings and things like that. So I had a good name. I always did right by people. So when I decided to do this, the community and the people that knew me really came out strong to support me, and it was overwhelming of the support of somebody that didn't know anything about the restaurant business, and for us to be doing this well only 2.5 years in.
So I'm going to call you when you say, I'm going to call you on the idea that you didn't know anything about the restaurant business, because as a kid, I went to Fun Spot and I had lots of pizza at Fun Spot. I was the guy in the corner eating pizza by myself and everybody else was doing the couple skate.
Okay, you did get me on that. We did have a snack bar there. Not the complete. So I had some pizza experience, but not full restaurant experience.
Okay. So, and I love Benny's. I love going there for pizza. The place, it's awesome. And anytime I get the chance down there, I'll go in there for the pizza. I'm a big fan of the meat lovers. That's my favorite. And one slice of that, brother, that's, I'm no small guy. That's enough for lunch. It's awesome.
You will not leave hungry.
That's fantastic. And my wife, who's not as much of a pizza person as I am, she's a big fan of the salads. So she likes those. So that's good. So you mentioned when you were a kid in school, like, what would you say to a high school kid that's like, this high school stuff's not for me. Like, I want to be done with this, and I'm gonna do what Benny did, and I'm not gonna go to school anymore. Like, what would you say to that kid?
Well, there's a lot that goes along with that. I do understand that school isn't everybody's forte, or as maybe we aren't good at school or this or that. But if you make that decision to leave school or not go to college, you have to work twice as hard as everybody else, because you're kind of the underdog. There's a lot of things going against you. You have people that are more educated and have more opportunity. There's a lot more opportunities. I think when you go to college and finish school, I think if you choose the harder route, you just have to work harder. You have to put yourself out there. And my entire life, it's been very easy for me to get a job because of my personality and my work ethic. So you have to have a super, super strong work ethic. And even here at Benny's, owning your own business, it's definitely not a cakewalk. I have weekends where I literally do 20-hour days, and sometimes 2 or 3 in a row. And I've had people question me like, how do you do a 20-hour day? I'm like, it's very easy. If you leave work at 3 o'clock in the morning, then you'll wake up at 7 in the morning. That gives you 4 hours of sleep. And it happens multiple times a year. But I always know that, if I work hard and put the time in, that it's all going to pay off. That I'll have times when it's a little slower and I can have some time to myself. But like I said, just working hard and all that will push you through. But you can't do it if you're not willing to work hard.
So, they might think, oh, it's a great idea to, I'm not a great student, and so I can get out of this, right? But it's not easy, right? They're going to have to work their tails off if they're going to get out. So that's a good message for sure, definitely. And I can vouch for how hard you work, because my wife and I love to go walking in downtown Belleville. And during the shutdown quarantine, right, all summer long, we would go in the mornings, and there were sometimes we were there at like 7 or 8 o'clock, and you were there. You might be outside setting up a tent, or you're outside moving tables, or you're outside doing something. So this isn't for show, folks. Like, he works this hard, and that's what it's going to take.
100%.
So I've been hearing rumors there's some good things for Benny's Pizza in the future, or
yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's I would have never have thought when I started Benny's, I wanted a small place that would be a really cool place. But what's really crazy in that 2.5 years, we've just been so busy. The volume is so big, and Actually, just for a second, I wanted to let you guys know Mrs. Quant is here, supporting.
Hey.
We were just talking about food fight, so didn't want to steal your interview, but I wanted to let you know that Lisa's here supporting.
Well, just tell Lisa to write Lancer on that receipt and send it to FTC.
Right here. You guys are kind of like getting in on my.
I think she might have already wrote in marker Belleville West.
Oh man.
So you missed that one.
All right, we missed that one, but our community didn't miss it, because it's great news for all of us. We need to all support our local people. That's great.
Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in. I thought that'd be.
Oh no, that's perfect. That's fantastic. That's great stuff. That is great. So, okay, where were we? I don't know what we were talking about. What were we talking about before?
Oh wow, I threw myself off.
Oh, great stuff for Benny's Pizza in the future.
Oh, yeah. So I've been working on it since May of this year, and we decided that we needed to step up our game, and we bought 2 buildings across the street, and Benny's will be expanding a bigger space, an even cooler space. I have some really cool ideas to put in there. So we brought anybody that's familiar with downtown Belleville, the Breadco building across the street has been vacant for a long time. So we bought that building and the one next to it. We'll be expanding. I actually get the keys tomorrow and start construction early next week. So we're shooting for March 1st. I hate to throw out dates, but in the spring, we're hoping to get things going, and you'll see a whole new Benny's. And I think there's a lot of new things. There's a new restaurant that will be coming in my space. So there's going to be a lot of shuffling and a lot of new, really cool things downtown Belleville. So you'll want to pay attention in the spring.
That's fantastic. So that's great. That's great stuff. So you're continuing to invest, even in this like awful economic situation that we're all in. You have worked so hard, and you continue to work so hard that you're overcoming more obstacles and can keep going. That's awesome. That's a great lesson for our students to see that even sometimes when things don't go the way we want them to go, hard work can get you past that. So that's great.
100%. You always end up where you're supposed to be. You put in that hard work, and we've worked really hard through the pandemic, not knowing that things were going to work out for us. But early on in the pandemic, we started selling toilet paper and orange juice just to give people another reason to come here. And we sold it at cost just to help them when toilet paper was hard to find. We all remember that. We sold toilet paper at cost just to give people another reason, get their toilet paper here because they can't get it anywhere else, and grab a pizza while they're here. So we just did really cool things like that kind of set us aside and show that we're here to support the community, and we're not just here to capitalize on that. We're truly here for our community.
That's for sure. And if you think about what you just said, under normal circumstances, a restaurant selling food and then selling toilet paper at the same time, it's not exactly a ringing endorsement.
Right.
But that's the 2020 that we all live in. So,
sure.
Okay. So Benny, let's talk about the one more time, the email. So people come down there like Mrs. Quant just did, even though she did it for Belleville West. It's STC for Spirit the City, stcfoodfight at bths201.org. Right. Please share that, right, with as many people as possible. Support all of our local people that are in business. So are you ready for your 5-question Friday, Bennie Parr?
I am ready for the 5 questions.
Okay, so what is your favorite memory of high school? If you got to pick one thing that was a favorite memory of high school, what would it be?
I would say in our day, they still had what now has been replaced with Spirit the City was Hobo Day. I don't know if you remember that, but there was when I went to West, it was the Old West, and they did you had to go to the pep rally. After the pep rally, there was a big parade that went down Main Street up towards where I'm sitting now, and that was a huge highlight of my year.
That's funny. I do remember Hobo Day, right? But full disclosure, I was an Althoff Crusader, so who's also part of the Spirit of the City, right? They're also welcome to share their stuff. That would be awesome. We're counting tallies from all 3 schools. So I remember hearing about Hobo Day as a Crusader and thinking, what is going on down there? Right? That's always our thing. Okay, second question. What was it that clicked in you that made you think that you could start a business? Even if it wasn't Benny's, it was something else. At what point did something click, or you're like, I think I can do this?
I think it's always been in me, because everything I've done, I think it's the passion that I have for the things that I do. I never do anything that I'm not passionate about. I always say, some people look for jobs and things like that are going to make you a lot of money, and I look for things that make me happy. So in all the businesses, just about all the businesses that I've been a part of, whether I was an employee or a partner or whatever it was always just natural for me to be a leader and to kind of be in charge of things. And like I said, so I think that's, I think from an early point, I think I always knew that I was going to do something where I was in charge, be a business owner. It took me a long time to figure out exactly where that was, but I spent 26 fantastic years in roller skating, and I loved every minute of it. And I'll tell you, for 26 years, I felt like I didn't work. I just was happy to do what I was doing. I didn't make the most money, but I worked through it, and I saved money, and that's how I got here. I put money away, and I worked hard, and I hope that answers your question.
It definitely does. Yeah, it does. Like it was a learned experience. Right?
For sure.
Okay. Who is your celebrity crush?
Wow, man. Katie Holmes.
All right, that's good. See, now I say this every week, but I think it's good that you had to hesitate, right?
Yeah.
You didn't say it right away. You weren't like, "Hey, Holmes," right away, because that might indicate some kind of problem. So that's good.
For sure.
Okay, are you TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or Snapchat?
Say one more time. I was having a hard time hearing you.
Are you TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or Snapchat?
Absolutely Facebook.
All right, and that's the only one?
That's the only one. We have all, but I let my staff and my daughter kind of run those. Hey, and if it's any consolation, just throw it out there. My daughter graduated from East just last year, so.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. I knew there was something good in there. That's good.
Definitely a connection there.
That's nice. Okay, last question. This is your fifth one. Outside of your family, who has been the most influential person that's affected your life?
You said including family?
Outside of your family.
Oh, outside of family. That's a great question. I'll tell you somebody early on, and he probably does it well. I'll tell you a couple people. They were actually school teachers, and one was a principal and superintendent, Mr. Menzer. He was my principal at I believe it's Central, and different things in my life. He always kind of bumped into him, and he gave me the tough love kind of thing. He was a great influence on me. And then I went to Franklin, so Mrs. Metzger and Mrs. McHugh are very, very dear to my heart. So those are three big influences for me.
That is awesome. Great answer. That's a good answer. So, okay. Last piece of advice. Any advice you want to give to any high school kid in any situation? Like, what would you tell them is advice from a successful business owner that they drive by all the time? Like, what would you say to them?
I would absolutely say follow your heart and work hard for that. Do what's important. Do what's important to you. But definitely just work hard and follow your heart. I mean, my 18-year-old daughter that just graduated from East, I told her the same thing, and she was going to go to school for something else, and she kind of thought back to our conversations and said, "Dad, you've always said follow my heart. I really want to do photography." So she's in Columbia and Chicago, and she's doing photography. There's not a high-paying job there, but she's following her heart versus following kind of what the masses do. So that's something I've preached to her since she was a baby. So I would give the same advice there.
That's great advice. I got the similar advice from my dad. He said, pick something you enjoy doing. And 100%. That was good advice many moons ago, and I'm still enjoying it. It's been a long time. So
I love that.
That's good advice. All right. So we finish the same way every week. Okay. We have a little quote that I've been saying to my students forever. And I'll say, stand up for what you believe in. And you say, even if you're standing alone. That's how we finish it. Before we do that, one more time, it's Spirit of the City. It's stcfoodfight at bphs201.org. Bennie Parr from Benny's Pizza. Thank you for sharing your story with our students, and thank you for sharing your time and your dedication to Benny's Restaurant, Benny's Pizza, for all of Belleville and the local region to enjoy. So stand up for what you believe in.
Even if you're standing alone.